My wife yelled as I lay motionless on the ground, "You're pathetic. Stop being a baby." My brother-in-law smirked while his mother accused me of ruining her birthday. But when the paramedics arrived, they all panicked. "Hey, Reddit." My brother-in-law threw me into concrete steps and broke my spine while my wife told me to stop being dramatic. Their faces went pale when the paramedics arrived. I reported everything to the police and watched their lives fall apart. Grab your snacks. This one's intense. Name's Damien, 38 male. I'm an electrician. I had my own business, residential and commercial work, couple apprentices, steady contracts with 3 construction companies, made decent money when things were good. But that also meant when someone called at 2 o'clock in the morning about a panel shorting out, I went. So, yeah, I'd come straight from rewiring a restaurant downtown, still in my cargo pants with the wire strippers clipped to my belt, standing on my mother-in-law's pool deck in my work boots. I felt about as comfortable as showing up to a yacht club in a beat-up pickup truck. The Ashford crowd looked like they'd walked out of a magazine. Expensive sunglasses, designer everything, that casual, rich look. Roxy was across the yard with her brother Zane and mother Vivian, the birthday girl. Vivian was doing her thing, wearing some designer outfit. 72 years old and still acting like the queen of suburban Connecticut. I'd learned pretty quick after marrying into this family that you showed up when summoned. Didn't matter if you had a panel to finish or permits to file. When Vivian Ashford threw a party, you cleared your schedule. Roxy made that real clear after I missed her father's retirement party for an emergency commercial job 3 years back. She didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. The party was going. Kids were doing cannonballs while adults worked over fancy drinks. I recognized most of the faces. Same people from every Ashford gathering. The ones who'd smile and ask what I did, then zone out the second I said electrician. One guy, Roger something, cornered me at Christmas to explain why tradesmen needed to think bigger. He ran a hedge fund and couldn't wire a lamp if his life depended on it. My phone buzzed. One of my commercial clients needed a quote for Monday. Big restaurant retrofit, 20 new circuits, complete panel upgrade, the kind of job that paid my mortgage for 2 months. I pulled it out to check the specs and Roxy shot me a look from across the yard. She walked over, that fake smile plastered on. Seriously, Damien can't put the phone away for one afternoon. Work email takes 2 seconds. Everything's work with you. She took a long sip of her drink. You know how bad it looks when you're standing here on your phone while everyone else is talking? I put the phone away. Didn't mention that her talking was really just gossip and one-upmanship disguised as conversation. You mean while everyone else is discussing stock portfolios and golf handicaps? Yeah, real exciting. Her jaw got tight. Just try to act normal for once and for goodness sake at least pretend you want to be here. She walked off before I could say anything. Normal, right? Because standing around making small talk with people who thought manual labor was beneath them was exactly how I wanted to spend my Saturday. I was checking my watch, calculating how long until I could claim an early job tomorrow and bail when I saw him coming. Zane walking over with that swagger like he owned everything in sight. Damien, my man. He slapped my shoulder hard enough that I had to shift my stance. You look tense. This is a party, brother. Loosen up. Long day. Commercial job ran late. Always working. He grinned, but it didn't reach his eyes. That's your problem, Damien. You don't know how to have fun. Fun in Zane's world usually meant someone else getting hurt or embarrassed. I'd been the entertainment at enough of these things to see where this was going. The way he was standing between me and the exit. The way his voice was getting louder so people would notice. The crowd starting to gather because Zane putting on a show was always worth watching. I'm good, man. Just gonna grab some food and, nah. You know what this party needs? He raised his voice, playing to everyone now. Some real excitement. Some actual fun instead of everyone standing around being boring. I took a step back. My boots had good traction on dry concrete, but this surface was still slick. Zane, I'm not really feeling, come on, Damien. Don't be like that. His hand shot out and grabbed my arm. Not friendly. Rough. Let's show these people how we do it. Pool games. Like old times. Like old times. Last 4th of July, I couldn't stand up straight for a week after one of his games. He'd tackled me into a metal patio chair, laughed while I wheezed on the ground. Roxy had handed me ice and told me to toughen up. Before that, Thanksgiving stares, but that was just Zane. I'm in my work clothes. I don't want to. Oh my gosh, Damien. Roxy's voice cut through sharp. It's my mother's birthday. Just go along with it for once. I looked at her standing there with her friends. She had that look, the one that said I was embarrassing her just by existing, by not wanting to be her brother's punching bag for everyone's entertainment. Vivian's voice came from her spot near the patio. Zane's just trying to liven things up. You're always so serious. The crowd was watching now, waiting, and I knew exactly how this would go. Either I played along and got hurt or I stood my ground and became the buzzkill who ruined Vivian Ashford's birthday party. They'd hold that over my head for months. Zane's grip got tighter on my arm. See, even Mom wants you to lighten up. Come on, little brother. Man, seriously. But he wasn't listening. He never did. His other hand grabbed my shoulder and suddenly he was spinning me. Not playful, hard. The kind of force that said he knew exactly what he was doing. The world tilted. I felt my feet leave the ground as he used his weight. He had a good 40 pounds on me to rotate my entire body. People were laughing. Someone yelled encouragement. I caught a glimpse of Roxy rolling her eyes like this was my fault. Time slowed down. I could see where I was headed. Those fancy concrete steps leading into the shallow end. My back was going to hit first. I knew it. The crack when I hit felt like something had just broken. And then came the laughter. Loud, real laughter. Because watching Damien the electrician get tossed around was peak entertainment for the Ashford family crowd. I couldn't breathe right. That was the first thing. The pool water was warm. Vivian kept it heated year-round for her morning swims. My work shirt was soaked, sticking to my skin. One of my wire strippers had come off my belt and was floating near my hand. I could see it. Could see everything with this weird clarity. The underside of the pool deck awning. The clouds moving overhead. Roxy's shocked face starting to shift from surprise to annoyance, but I couldn't feel my legs. I tried to move them, focused everything I had on just moving my toes. Walk it off, Damien. Roxy's voice, not concerned, annoyed. You're making a scene. God, you always do this. I tried to speak, but my lungs weren't cooperating. Managed to croak out something that might have been words. Seriously? That was Vivian now. Her birthday party interrupted by her son-in-law's inability to take a joke. Zane barely touched him. He's being dramatic like always. Zane was standing at the pool edge, still grinning. Come on, man. It was just a toss. Stop milking it. I wanted to tell them I wasn't milking anything. That something was seriously wrong, but I could barely breathe. This is ridiculous. Roxy's heels clicked on the wet concrete as she came closer. Damien, you're embarrassing me. Get up. Right. Because paralysis was a choice I was making to ruin her mother's party. That's when everything changed. A woman I sort of recognized from the party. Cassie something. Maybe a coworker of Vivian's husband pushed through the crowd. She wasn't laughing. Her face had gone dead serious. Nobody touch him. Her voice cut through everything. Nobody move him. I mean it. Oh, come on. Zane's forced laugh. He's fine. Just being dramatic. Shut up, Zane. She was kneeling beside me now, her hands hovering but not touching. Can you hear me? I need you to tell me what you're feeling. Can't legs. Her face went white. Actually white. Can you feel this? She pressed on my shin. Nothing. My thigh. Nothing. My ankle. Still nothing. She moved up my leg, checking reflexes, watching my face for any reaction. Each test came back the same. Zero response. Her expression got more serious with every failed check. Can you wiggle your toes? I tried. Stared down at my work boots, willing my feet to move, but it was like they belonged to someone else. Nobody moves him. Cassie was pulling out her phone and something in her voice made even Vivian shut up. This is a spinal injury. This could be really bad. You're overreacting, Roxy said. But her voice had lost some of that edge. He probably just needs a minute to, ma'am, I'm a paramedic. This man has no sensation or movement in his lower body. That's not needing a minute. That's a medical emergency. The laughter stopped. Cassie was on the phone. I need an ambulance at 2847 Woodbridge Lane. Adult male, possible spinal cord injury following blunt force trauma. I was still lying there on those steps, half in the pool, unable to move. The party had gone quiet, just silence and the sound of my own breathing. Roxy was pacing, her face going through emotions faster than I could track. I could see her trying to figure out how to spin this, so it wasn't her brother's fault. This is insane, Vivian said. But she sounded less certain now. Zane didn't mean for this to happen. It was an accident. Accident implies nobody was at fault, Cassie said without looking away from me. Your son grabbed him and threw him into concrete steps. That's assault. The word landed hard. Zane's face went pale. Roxy stopped pacing. Vivian's mouth opened and closed. Sirens started in the distance, getting louder. Okay, Damien, I know you're scared, but I need you to stay very still. Help is coming. Scared didn't begin to cover it. I ran my own business, climbed ladders every day, crawled through attics and under houses. My entire life depended on being physically capable. And now I was unable to feel half my body while my wife complained about it. The ambulance pulled up. I could hear the doors opening, equipment being moved. 2 paramedics came through the gate. The older one knelt beside me. "I'm Cassidy." "What's your name, sir?" "Damien Keller." "Can you tell me what happened, Damien?" This was it. The moment I could either downplay it, keep the peace, be the good little outsider who knew his place, or tell the truth. I looked at Roxy. She was staring at me with this look. "Don't make this worse. Don't embarrass the family." Vivian had moved closer, her birthday forgotten, already in damage control mode. And I thought about every time they'd made me the punchline, every joke at my expense, every time I'd swallowed my pride and played along because it was easier than standing up to these people. Zane grabbed me and threw me backward into those steps. I told him no multiple times. He did it anyway. Now I can't feel my legs. Silence. Roxy's face went red. "Damien, you're exaggerating. He didn't throw you. He just, ma'am." Cassie's voice was firm. "I need you to step back. This is now an active investigation." I almost laughed. Vivian Ashford's birthday party had officially become a crime scene. The look on her face was worth every bit of pain shooting through my back. At the hospital, they had me strapped to a backboard so tight I couldn't have moved, even if my legs were working. Every bump in the ambulance ride sent jolts through my upper back. But from the waist down, nothing. The doctor didn't waste time. "We need to get you into an MRI. See what we're dealing with." The MRI machine looked like something designed to mess with your head. They slid me in and for 45 minutes I listened to sounds like construction work the whole time, trying not to think about wheelchairs. When they pulled me out, the doctor was waiting with another doctor. Woman, probably mid-50s with silver hair and a serious face. "Damien, this is Dr. Kova. She's our spine specialist." Dr. Kova had a tablet with images of my back, black and white scans that looked like abstract art to me, but apparently told her everything. "You have a fresh fracture at L2. That's what's causing your current symptoms." I waited for the other shoe, but we also found 3 older fractures, L4, T9, and T11. "These are old injuries, Damien. Months to years old. They show signs of repeated blunt force trauma." The room spun. "What? These fractures happened at different times. They're in different stages of healing. This suggests a pattern of injury over time." Pattern. The trampoline last July. Cracked rib they said was just bruising. Thanksgiving stairs when Zane bumped me from behind. Couldn't sit right for 2 weeks. Football game where he tackled me into a tree. Pool party where he held me under until I saw spots. Every single time. Just family fun. Just Zane being Zane. My spine had kept better records than I did. "Your spine is telling us a story," Dr. Kova said quietly. That's when Detective Annika showed up. "Mr. Keller, I'm Detective Annika. Heck of a day you've had." That's one way to put it. She pulled out her phone. One of the guests recorded what happened. "Want to see it?" I nodded even though I really didn't want to see it. The video was brutal. Me backing up, saying no. Zane grabbing my arm, his voice loud. "Let's show these people some real fun." The spin, the throw, the crack when I hit. And then the laughter and Roxy's voice clear as day. "Stop being so dramatic, Damien. You're embarrassing me." Detective Annika paused the video. "This is assault." She made notes. "The doctor showed me your MRI. Those old fractures paint a picture. You want to tell me about them?" So, I did. All of it. Every incident. Every time I'd been told I was overreacting or being too sensitive. Every injury that got brushed off as me being clumsy or not being able to take a joke. Your wife knew about these injuries. She was there when they happened. Always had an excuse. That it was just how her family showed affection. Her face didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. That's called enabling, Mr. Keller. And depending on how this plays out, she might be looking at charges herself. My phone had been buzzing nonstop. Roxy, Vivian, even Zane, probably trying to get ahead of this. I ignored them all. "Based on the video evidence, the medical evidence, and your statement, we're arresting Zane Ashford for assault with bodily harm. Given the severity and the pattern of previous injuries, we're also pursuing aggravated assault charges." What about my wife? "We're building a case for spousal neglect and obstruction. She created an environment where this abuse could continue. That has legal consequences." For the first time in 6 years of marriage, someone was telling me that the Ashford family's money and connections didn't make them immune to consequences. The surgery came 3 days later. Dr. Kova explained it like she was describing car repairs. Rods, screws, fusion. Nobody could promise me I'd walk again, but they'd give it their best shot. I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. The incision in my back felt like someone had taken a blowtorch to my spine. But the worst part was still the fear. Every day staring at my legs, willing them to move. That's when I met Dr. Rose, physical therapist, maybe 5 foot tall, but moved like she could bench press a bus. This is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. You'll want to quit. I won't let you. She was right. The first week, all we did was try to get me sitting up without passing out. I threw up twice from the effort. My core was shot. Everything hurt. But somewhere around week 6, something changed. I was in the therapy room strapped into this thing that looked like medieval torture equipment when Dr. Rose told me to try standing. I'd tried 100 times before. Nothing ever happened. But this time, when I really focused on pushing down through my feet, I felt something. Holy crap. Dr. Rose grinned. There it is. That's the beginning. My phone rang. My business partner, Riley, one of the guys who'd worked for me for 3 years before I'd brought him on as co-owner. Damien, man, we got a problem. Ashford Construction pulled their contract. All of it. 12 jobs gone. Ashford Construction, Vivian's husband's company. Of course, the other 2 companies are making noise, too, saying they're worried about project timelines with you out. There it was. The Ashford family fighting back the only way they knew how. Through money and connections. How bad? Bad. We're looking at losing maybe 70% of our commercial contracts. Without those, we can't keep the apprentices on payroll. Mendez and Dwayne are already asking if they should start looking. Riley's voice cracked a bit. 3 years we'd worked together before I brought him on as partner. He'd put everything into this business, too. I called around. Everyone's getting the same message from Ashford's people. Work with us or work with Damien Keller. Not both. Those were good kids. They didn't deserve to lose their jobs because I'd married into the wrong family. I closed my eyes. This wasn't just about me anymore. This was 3 kids who counted on me for rent money and skill training. Document everything. We're adding it to the lawsuit. You sure about that, man? Going after the Ashfords? They fractured my spine in 3 places, Riley. Multiple times. Then they tried to ruin my business when I pressed charges. Yeah, I'm sure. Riley was quiet for a second. All right, I'm with you. But Damien, the Riverside project, the GC is asking if we can still meet deadline. Riverside 40-unit apartment complex 6 weeks of work. Tell them we can. I'll be back. You don't know that. Tell them anyway. We're not giving Ashford the satisfaction. Detective Annika was real interested in the contract cancellations when I told her. Economic retaliation. That's witness intimidation. They just made this way worse for themselves. The Ashford family attorney reached out a week later. Wanted to talk settlement, offering to pay medical bills if I dropped the charges. I told him to get bent. The news that they'd arrested Zane hit the family hard. Roxy showed up at the hospital around midnight and she was not the composed wife I'd married. They arrested him. Damien, in front of the neighbors. Do you understand what you've done to this family? He broke my back. What did you think would happen? It was an accident. You're blowing this way out of proportion because you've never fit in with my family. And this is your chance to. The MRI found 3 other fractures. Old ones from all the other times your brother used me as entertainment. That stopped her, but only for a second. You're going to ruin everything. My mother's reputation, Zane's career, our standing in the community. For what? Because you can't take a joke. I can't feel my legs, Roxy. The doctor said you might walk again. Might. You're probably going to be fine. And you're destroying my family over something that might not even be permanent. I stared at her and realized I'd been seeing what I wanted to see for 6 years instead of what was actually there. Get out. Excuse me. Get out. I'm done. Her face went red. You can't kick me out. I'm your wife. Not for long. My lawyer's filing tomorrow. The color drained from her face. You can't be serious. Dead serious. I'm done being your family's punching bag. She left. Came back 3 days later with her own lawyer trying to claim the house was marital property. My attorney shut that down in about 5 minutes. The house was purchased before marriage, never refinanced, title never changed. It's his separate property. You have no claim. Roxy tried to spin it to mutual friends. Said I was being vindictive, that I was using my injury to punish her for her brother's mistake. A few people believed her. Most didn't, especially after the video started circulating. Vivian tried to pull strings, called in favors. Her husband reached out to people he knew at the DA's office, but Detective Annika had built her case tight. Video evidence, medical evidence, pattern of behavior. The DA wasn't budging. Meanwhile, I was learning to walk again. Sort of. Dr. Rose was relentless, every day, pushing me harder. Some days I hated her. Some days I wanted to quit, but she wouldn't let me. Your business depends on you being mobile. Your independence depends on you being mobile. So, we're going to make you mobile. 6 weeks turned into 8. 8 turned into 12. I went from parallel bars to a walker. Walker to a cane. The limp was permanent. Dr. Kova had been clear about that. But I was walking against all odds on my own 2 feet. My brother showed up around week 10. Drew, 2 years older than me, works in construction management. We'd been close growing up, but drifted after I married Roxy. She'd made it clear she didn't like his humor and rough edges, called him crass at a family dinner once. He'd stopped coming around after that. He walked into my hospital room, took one look at me with the cane, and said, "Well, you look terrible. Good to see you, too. Heard you finally grew a spine." Ironic considering he sat down. "Need anything?" "Yeah, help moving Roxy's stuff out of my house. She's still got keys and I don't trust her not to take things that aren't hers." "When?" "This weekend. If you're free." "I'm free. Called in a few buddies, too. We'll have her out in 3 hours. Tops." That's Drew. Just showing up and getting it done. He came through. Saturday morning, he showed up with 4 guys and a truck. By noon, every single thing Roxy had brought into my house was in boxes on the curb. Changed the locks while we were at it. Every box got documented with photos and dates of purchase. All cataloged, all on the curb. She called, screaming, threatened to call the cops. Drew got on the phone. "Call them. It's his house. Your name's not on anything. You got 72 hours to pick up your stuff before it goes to the dump. Your call." She picked it up. Sent movers with an attitude. Drew sent them packing with half of what they came for after they tried to take my TV. That was here before she moved in. He told them. "Check the receipts." They tried to argue. Drew pulled out his phone. Showed them the purchase date on the Amazon order. 2019, 2 years before they got married. "Want to keep going or you want to leave with what's actually hers?" They left. Roxy called back, screaming about the TV, the coffee maker, the living room chair. Drew had receipts for all of it. Now, here's where things got interesting. Remember Cassie, the paramedic who helped me? She started visiting around week 12. At first, it was professional. She'd been the first responder at the scene. Wanted to check on my recovery. But then the visits got longer, less about medical stuff, more about just talking. She was easy to talk to, didn't treat me like I was fragile, had this dry sense of humor that matched mine. One afternoon, she stopped by with coffee. We sat in the hospital courtyard talking about nothing in particular. When she left, Drew smirked. Well. Shut up. She's just being nice." "Yeah, nice. That why she brought you coffee from that place across town that you mentioned liking once 3 weeks ago?" "It's on her way. It's 12 miles in the opposite direction of her apartment." I checked. "You checked?" "I'm thorough." He leaned back. "I'm just saying once you're done being married to Satan's spawn, maybe don't be an idiot about someone who's actually decent." I didn't respond to that. The divorce moved fast once Roxy realized she wasn't getting the house or half my business. Her lawyer tried to claim she deserved compensation for emotional distress. My lawyer pointed out she'd caused the emotional distress by enabling her brother's abuse for 6 years. The judge wasn't sympathetic to her case. At the courthouse, Zane's lawyer was exactly what you'd expect. Expensive suit, condescending smile. His opening statement painted Zane as a family man caught in an unfortunate accident. Harmless fun gone wrong, the usual spin. Then the prosecution started rolling out evidence. The video played on a big screen. The courtroom went dead silent. You could see exactly what happened. 2 women in the jury box looked physically sick. Guy in the back row was shaking his head. Dr. Kova walked the jury through the MRI images, 4 fractures total, different time periods. She laid it out clean. This wasn't accidents. This was systematic trauma over years. My testimony was straightforward. Told them about the incidents, the dismissals, the pattern. Told them I ran an electrical business that required being physically capable. And Zane had been breaking my back for years while his family told me I was the problem. The prosecution had evidence of the economic retaliation. Voicemails from Vivian's husband to contractors. Emails spelling out their campaign to tank my business. Text messages saying I couldn't walk, couldn't work, cut me loose, pretty clear witness intimidation. Cassie testified about the scene, how the family had been worried about embarrassment instead of getting me help. How Vivian asked if she was overreacting when she called the ambulance. Zane's lawyer tried different angles during cross-examination. Asked about roughhousing as kids. Asked if I'd ever been clumsy. Asked if maybe I'd exaggerated my symptoms for attention. The prosecution objected twice when he got too aggressive. Judge sustained both times. You could see the jury turning against him with every question. None of it landed. Hard to argue with video evidence and 4 fractured vertebrae. Jury deliberated for 4 hours. Came back with guilty on all counts. Zane went white. Vivian looked ready to collapse. Roxy just stared at nothing. The judge sentenced him to 5 years. Added restitution for medical expenses and lost wages, just over $300,000. My lawyer had documented every contract cancellation, every lost job, every apprentice we'd had to let go. The civil suit came next. Same evidence, different aim, pain and suffering, emotional distress, systematic abuse campaign. Jury awarded $450,000. Vivian tried to appeal. The judge wasn't interested. Ashford Construction took a hit. Lost major clients who didn't want the association. Vivian's husband had to lay off workers, scale back. The Ashford name lost its shine in the industry. The divorce finalized the same week. Roxy got nothing. Her lawyer made one last attempt about marital assets. Judge shut it down in under 5 minutes. 6 years of enabling abuse meant she had zero claim to my house, business, or property. Physical therapy became my full-time job for 6 months. Dr. Rose was brutal, but she got results. The limp never fully went away, but I could climb ladders again. Could crawl through attics. Could do 90% of what I used to do. Good enough to run jobs. Just had to be smarter about which ones I took personally versus sent the apprentices for. Riley had kept the business alive barely. We'd lost most of the commercial contracts, but he'd hustled up residential work. Kitchen remodels, panel upgrades, generator installs. Small jobs, but steady. The margins were tighter, but we were covering expenses. Slowly, we started rebuilding. Word got around about what happened, about the Ashfords, about Vivian's husband tanking our contracts. Contractors talk, and the construction world is smaller than you'd think. Companies that had dropped us started reaching back out quietly at first. A foreman calling directly instead of going through official channels, then more openly once they saw the trial results. Within a year, we had more work than before. Drew became a regular fixture. Would stop by most weekends, help with whatever needed doing. Never made a big deal about it. Just showed up. Cassie kept visiting. The visits got longer, less about medical stuff, more about just talking. One Saturday, she came by while Drew and I were replacing deck boards. She brought lunch. Stayed 3 hours helping measure and cut. When she left, Drew didn't wait for her car to pull away. Bro, come on. What? She's into you. You're into her. This is painful to watch. The divorce just finalized. Not really looking to jump into, nobody said marry her tomorrow. I'm saying maybe ask her to dinner. Do literally anything besides pretend you don't notice. She looks at me like I'm normal. That's it. She looks at you like you're not an idiot, which is generous considering. I threw a board at him. He dodged, laughing. But he had a point. So next time Cassie came by, I asked if she wanted to grab dinner. She said yes before I even finished asking. Dinner turned into a regular thing. Twice a week, then 3 times. Easy conversations. The business kept growing. We hired back the apprentices. Took on 2 more. Started bidding on commercial projects again. Won a few. The Riverside project came through. 40 units, 6 weeks of work, finished 2 days early. The GC was impressed enough to offer us 3 more buildings. Mendez handled most of the rough-in work while I supervised. Kid was good. Dwayne ran the calculations and kept our material costs under budget. We were building something real again. First paycheck after we rehired everyone. Mendez pulled me aside, told me his mom had been about to lose her apartment when the Ashford contracts disappeared. Said he wouldn't forget what I'd done to get him back on payroll. Roxy, meanwhile, wasn't doing great. Her social circle had gotten smaller. Vivian's reputation took a hit, which meant Roxy's did, too. The divorce had left her with nothing. No house, no alimony, no settlement. She'd moved back in with Vivian. Based on what Drew heard through his construction contacts, it wasn't going well. She tried to paint herself as the victim. The wife who'd stood by her husband only to be abandoned. But the video was out there, hard to spin that. I didn't follow her social media, but Drew did, would send me screenshots when she posted something unhinged. One claimed I'd made everything up for money. Another said I'd started something with Cassie while we were still married. The comments weren't kind to Roxy. I ignored it all. Had better things to do than waste energy on someone who'd spent 6 years treating me like I was less than human. 18 months after the divorce, life had found a rhythm. The business was solid. I'd used part of the settlement to buy a second work truck and upgrade our tools. Paid off the mortgage on the house. Put the rest in investments that actually made sense instead of whatever Roxy used to push me toward. Cassie and I had been together for almost a year. Nothing rushed, nothing forced, just easy. It was a Saturday afternoon when she showed up again. Drew had come over to help install new lighting in my garage. LED shop lights. Cassie was supposed to stop by later. We'd planned to grill, maybe watch a game. I was on the ladder feeding wire through the ceiling joists when Drew's phone buzzed. He was holding the ladder, scrolling with his free hand. "You're not going to believe this." "What?" "Roxy just posted that she's driving over to settle this once and for all. Posted your address and everything." I climbed down. "You're kidding. Check it yourself." He showed me the post. Sure enough, Roxy had gone full unhinged on social media, posted about how I'd ruined her life, stolen everything from her, and she was going to confront me whether I liked it or not. "She's lost it," Drew said. 20 minutes later, Cassie arrived, saw our faces, and immediately went on alert. "What happened?" "Roxy's on her way over. Full breakdown mode." Her jaw got tight. "You call the cops?" We didn't have to wait long. A car screeched into my driveway. Roxy got out and she looked rough, hair a mess, makeup smeared, wearing sweatpants and a stained shirt. She stormed up the driveway as we were setting up the grill. Stopped when she saw Cassie. Of course she's here." That was fast. "Damien, real classy, you need to leave, Roxy. This is my house." "No, it's my house. Your name was never on the deed. We've been over this. I lived here for 6 years. I made this a home." Drew snorted. "You complained about it for 6 years. Called it a blue-collar disaster. I was there." Roxy's face went red. "Stay out of this, Drew. This is between me and my husband." "Ex-husband." I corrected. Cassie had her phone out now. "Recording." "Smart." Roxy saw it and her voice got shriller. "You're recording this? You posted our address online and announced you were coming here." "Yeah, we're recording this because you bankrupted my family. You sent my brother to prison. You destroyed everything." Cassie stepped forward. "Your brother put himself in prison when he assaulted someone. Your family destroyed itself when they tried to cover it up. Who asked you?" Roxy's voice went shrill. "You couldn't wait to get your hands on him, could you? Probably planning this from the moment you saw him in that pool." "I was trying to save his life. While you were calling him dramatic." Roxy's hands were shaking. "You don't get it. My mother lost everything. Her reputation, her social standing, my father's business collapsed. Zane's in prison. And for what? Because Damien couldn't take a joke. He broke my spine. I said multiple times. That's not a joke, Roxy. You're walking. You're fine. You're better than fine. You got rich off it." Drew was filming on his phone now. "Smart move. You need to leave," I said. "Right now, before we call the cops." "I'm not leaving. This is my house, too." "It's really not," Cassie said. "And you're trespassing. So, you can leave or we can have you removed." Roxy looked at all of us. At me with Cassie, at Drew clearly on my side, at the house she'd lived in but never owned. And something in her broke. "You're going to regret this. All of you. You think you've won, but you haven't. My family has lawyers. We have connections. We're going to, your family has nothing." I interrupted. "Your father's business is gone. Your mother's reputation is destroyed. Your brother's in prison for 3 more years. And you? You're standing in my driveway making threats you can't back up. Looking like you haven't showered in a week." She looked down at herself. For the first time, seemed to register how she looked. The stained sweatpants, the ratty shirt. Her hands went to her hair, then dropped. Her face crumpled for a second. I almost felt bad. Then I remembered 6 years of being treated like I was less than human. "I loved you," she said, and her voice had lost that sharp edge. "I actually loved you." "No, you loved having someone you felt superior to." Drew spoke up. "Just so you know, this whole conversation is on video and going to the cops if you don't leave in the next 30 seconds. Roxy looked at the phone, then she turned and walked back to her car. She just started the engine and left. We stood there for a moment in silence. Then Drew grinned. "Well, that was therapeutic." "You recorded all of that?" "Heck yeah, I did. This is going straight to your lawyer and maybe online if she keeps posting crazy stuff." Cassie was shaking her head. "She needs help. She needs to accept that actions have consequences," I said. "But that's not my problem anymore." We went back to setting up the grill. I fired up the charcoal and tried not to think about how different my life looked now compared to 2 years ago. Better. It looked better. My back still ached on cold days. The limp never went away, but I was walking, working, living my life on my own terms with people who actually cared about me. Good for me. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.